Okay, so just to follow up the first video, as far as the body paragraphs go, I just thought maybe I'd give you an example just to remind you what that looks like. So if you look up here where it says the disturbing events that Lafayette experienced had dire effects on his life as he was the most affected by the violence. That was one of my preview sentences in my introduction that you watched your other Edpuzzle about. Now, remember, you'll take your preview sentences from your intro and turn them into topic sentences. Remember, I had a question about topic sentences in your Edpuzzle. So here's your topic sentence for body paragraph number 1. Lafayette's traumatic experience and interactions with his negative friends caused him to be the most affected by the violence at Horner. Why did I reword this? Well, you don't want to be redundant, repetitive. You don't want to say the same thing over and over. But you do want to reinforce the point that you're trying to make. So in your intro, you're just kind of giving us what's called the taste of your point. And this is more of a elaborate explanation of, hey, here's how Lafayette was affected. So if you look at my paragraph, after my topic sentence, I then have a buffer before I get to my first quote. Don't jump from a topic sentence to a quote, okay? So this is about how Lafayette got affected by violence at Horner. So here we go. Lafayette was a child, and he should have been having fun with his friends, playing in the park and riding a bike, but he couldn't go outside without fear of gunfire. Lafayette showed how strong his fear of the gangs was when he sadly made this comment, quote, "Anytime I go outside, I am guaranteed to come back," end quote. Make sure you follow that quote introduction that I put there, right? You don't want to just say Lafayette said. Don't put the author said or this quote shows. Never write this quote shows. Again, never write this quote shows. This quote says, the book says, the author says. You need to put the quote in context. When did it happen? Who said it? Lead us into the quote. Never start a quote that you put in a paper with just the quotation marks. So again, this is a quote introduction. Lafayette showed how strong his fear of the gangs was when he sadly made this comment. I'm putting it in context. Anytime I go outside, I am guaranteed to come back. Now I need to explain and elaborate, right? Explain how the quote that you put there supports your thesis that you put in your paper. So this shows that Lafayette was too scared to even leave his home, no less play with his friends outside. Unlike children in, quote, safe communities, Lafayette's so scared by what he has seen around his neighborhood, violence has taken control of his daily activities and caused him to come of age much too quickly and see the world from a very negative perspective. All of that is an explanation as to how this quote supports the theme that his environment is causing him to grow up too quickly, right? Now I lead into my next quote. Another example of how violence has caused Lafayette to lose his innocence is how he lost trust with everyone around him to the point he can't even talk. Lafayette told LaJoe, "Mama, one time I said to myself I wasn't going to talk no more." And again, I led into that quote. Please don't write this quote shows, the author said. Don't start a sentence with a quote. Don't use slang or abbreviations. And don't forget to cite using page numbers. Okay, so don't write this quote shows, the author said, or start the sentence with a quote. Here's your quote introductions again, and all this will be on Canvas for you to refer back to. Melinda states, or Lafayette was walking down the hallway when this happened. Put your quote into context, okay? At the end of each body paragraph, don't forget to put a transition sentence leading into the next topic. So if the first paragraph's about Lafayette and the next one's about Farrell, your last sentence of your body paragraph should transition to something about Farrell. Like, although Lafayette was greatly affected by violence, Farrell suffered much as well, and it was shown through his PTSD or something to that effect. Okay, and again, here's your paragraph organization. Topic sentence, 2 or 3 sentences that lead me into your first quote. Put your quote, explain how that quote supports your thesis with your theme, then elaborate on that for a couple extra sentences. Again, the difference between these two is get really specific here as to, hey, this shows how Lafayette was forced to grow up too quickly. And then again, more of your own words, go on and on. So these are very much the same thing, explaining and elaborating, but this just means add extra words, add extra to it. Okay, and just repeat that process. Go into the next quote, explain, elaborate, quote, explain, elaborate, and so forth. You need to have really, let's say, 5 quotes. Okay. All right. Good luck, and ask me if you have any questions.